bride to my new spear. Should be a workbench around here I can use.
I'll be right here until you need me.
The sculptor wanted something even bigger, twice the size, covered in gold and jewels. But I was quite certain you wouldn't appreciate that.
You were right. I'm sorry, Avad. It's good to see you, but I can't stay long.
I see. I'd hoped you'd remain in the city for a time. Perhaps at the palace.
Meridian's still in danger, but it's bigger than that. To put things right, I have to go west. To Noct territory.
By the sun, the Tenakth? Well, perhaps Murad already told you, but after years of hostility, we've negotiated a truce, in hopes of a lasting peace. Another embassy will be held in just a day or two.
When you say years of hostility, I assume you mean the Red Raids?
Ah, yes. My favorite subject.
I wouldn't ask if I didn't need to know.
As you know, my father raided all the border tribes. The Oseram, Banuk, and Nora suffered greatly, resisting as best they could. But none fought back like the Tenakth. They rose up and assaulted our western front at Barren Light, sweeping us from their lands. Getting them to talk to us again after that was tricky.
What makes this coming embassy so special?
Well, just like today, it is special because of the guest. Our delegation will meet with the Tenakth just outside Barren Light. We'll give them treasure, and they'll return a prisoner. Fashav, one of our finest soldiers.
Soldier? Don't you mean raider?
No. Not in this case. Fashav is my cousin, nothing like Helis and his ilk. He joined the Western expedition with the hopes of reining in certain excesses. But he was captured during a heroic defense of our forward base at Cinnabar Sands, and has been held ever since.
Itamen looks happy.
You got him out of Sunfall. Any happiness he has, he owes to you. He's turning into a fine young man, which he'll need to be if he's to inherit the crown.
Wouldn't the crown go to a son of yours first?
Yes, well, I'd have to get married for that to happen. Murad keeps throwing noble matches at me. But I find I'm always trying to make them into someone they're not. At any rate, I never aspired to the throne, and I don't wish to sit there forever. When Itamen comes of age, I hope to step aside. Free of the crown. I might finally be able to travel the world. Who knows? Perhaps even accompany you on one of your adventures.
You make it sound easy. I need to get going.
One moment, Aloy. There's something I must ask you. Since you left, I've thought of little else.
This isn't really the time.
But it has to be. The way you left before, there's no way to know when I'll see you again. I'm not trying to stop you, or hold you back. But I need to know. When your mission is over, will you return to Meridian? And stay? Long enough for us to spend time, to get to know each other properly, perhaps.
I do hope to see Meridian again, Avad. And you. But this mission, it's my life. It's all I can think about. I have to stay focused. What happens after? I can't imagine that. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Well, if that place were to end up being Meridian, know that you will always receive a boundless welcome here. Tend to your mission, Aloy. I will hope for your success, and look forward to your return.
Looks like a memorial. Honoring those who fell in the Battle of the Elite. Lots of brave people defended this place from Hades.
An honor to make your acquaintance, Savior.
Machine carcasses. Remnants from the Battle of the Elite. We were almost overrun by the machines Hades controlled. But we pushed through.
Aloy. Yes.
Dowager Queen Masadi.
Blessed champion. Itamen, what do you say?
My humblest thanks to you, great champion, for delivering my mother and me from Sunfall, and for defending our holy city against the forces of Shadow. Did I say right?
You said it fine, Itamen. And you're welcome.
Champion, will you teach me how to shoot like a real machine hunter?
Itamen.
I have to go on an important mission, Prince.
To save the world?
Something like that. But when I come back, I could give you a few tips. It would be an honor.
We owe you our lives, champion, and we will not forget. May the sun light your way.
Watch out for Thunderjaws, champion!
That's part of the Deathbringer we defeated. This machine was the last line of defense for Hades. It dragged the orb up here and then nearly killed me, but it's just a piece of scrap now.
Savior.
There,
Hope all is
the
well.
workbench. Uthid, Vanasha, thanks for being here.
Wouldn't miss it, even if you did leave us hanging after the big battle.
Vanasha, stop. She's here now, isn't she?
For the moment. But I see that look on her face. She's got business to attend to, and it isn't in Meridian.
You know, I didn't vanish before because I wanted to. I had...
No, Huntress. Please. You don't have to justify yourself to us. You saved our butts. If you've got to go, go. With our blessing.
Always.
You both look like you're doing well.
Mr. Shiny Pants here is now the Sun King's senior military advisor. That means people actually have to listen to him talk? May the sun bless their sorry souls.
At least I say something of substance every once in a while.
What was that? I just fell asleep while you were talking.
And how about you, Vanasha?
I've been looking after Nasadi and Edaman. 2 parts bodyguard, 1 part...
Bad influence.
Huh. I was gonna say nanny, but I like your version better.
It's been months since I was in Sunfall. What's become of the Shadow Carja?
After you wiped out the Eclipse, there were hardly any priests or officers left to terrorize the little people.
Avad offered amnesty to all who were forced to serve the Shadow, so the commoners cleaned out the Citadel and handed it back to him. The Sundom was unified.
Avad wanted Uther to take command of the garrison there, but Captain Cudley here refused. Rumor has it that he wanted to stay close to me here in Meridian.
That's nonsense, of course.
Well, I know. You're out. Go! Away with you.
Always an honor, champion.
Always a pleasure. But please, little Huntress, come back someday and tell us about your adventures. If I can't get in trouble, at least I can hear about yours.
Okay. Master Override installed. Plus, something new. To store up and release energy. Resonator. Should help in a fight.
Aloy, are you finished with your friends, or do you need more time?
I better get going. And if I'm headed west, it sounds like I'll need rite of passage from the Tenakth, as you said. Where exactly is this embassy going to be held?
Past the Daunt, the canyon that marks the western border of the Sundom. You'll find the fortress of Barren Light at its farthest edge. The embassy will take place just beyond its gates. It's a long march, a fortnight on foot.
A couple of days hard riding should get us there.
Actually, it might be better to rest here tonight. Head out in the morning.
Of course. I'll arrange it.
Sparks to steel. Never seen anyone use one of those to get around.
Is that how I get to Barren Light?
Yes, I mean usually, but not today. Not yet.
And why is that?
Well, the Daunt. The whole valley. It's infested with machines.
I can handle machines.
Oh, I'm sure you can, but I'm under strict orders not to operate until the whistle down at Chainscrape sounds the all clear.
Look, I didn't come all this way just to stand around and wait. I'll crank that car down myself if I have to.
Well, but then who would crank it back up? Fine, fine. Though, should anyone ask, it might be best to say you forced me.
I see smoke, but not a lot of activity.
Smoke's probably coming from something the machines wrecked. As for the quiet, well, there's a work stoppage in effect because of all the fuss.
What sort of machines are causing the trouble?
Nasty ones, and lots of them. Bristlebacks, they're called. Strangeness is, they're not native to the Daunt. Just showed up, all of a sudden.
No hunters to kill them?
Oh, we've got hunters, just none that want to cross Ulvund. Boss of Chainscrape. He is self-appointed. Work stoppage was his idea.
Yeah, well, I'm just passing through. Got an embassy to attend.
You should have said. That ain't gonna happen no time soon.
What are you talking about?
Hear that? That's your answer.
Who is that?
Carja Sun Priest. Cranked him down yesterday, about an hour before the machine trouble started. He's a very important man, or so he says. That embassy at Barren Light, he's the one supposed to run it.
Great.
If you don't do as I say immediately, the Sun King himself shall hear of your insolence. Thanks to you, I was forced to spend the night shivering in the tent. Exposed to attack, I might have died. Oh, me you refuse to transport, but not this... what? This Nora girl? This savage? Besides, scallywag.
Wadis. That's Aloy.
Studious Wadis.
Aloy, you know, savior of Meridian.
Really? Well, that lessens the insult, I suppose.
I came here for the embassy at Barren Light. Way I hear it, so did you.
Well, not with the valley infested. And so did Ahriman proclaim the Sun Priests most precious and worthy of safekeeping. See? Scripture. I shall head to Barren Light when the captain of the Vanguard tells me the way is clear, and not a moment sooner.
Fine. Captain's a friend of mine, you know? Where is Erend? Wouldn't mind speaking to someone a little more action, a little less scroll.
Wadis.
Studious Wadis.
Studious Wadis sent Erend and another Vanguard out at daybreak to clear the way.
And so at daybreak...
Hey! Shh. Down the valley, then?
Yeah, said they checked the ruins on the left bank for tracks. Take it from there.
Okay. I hear there's a work stoppage. Any way to upgrade my gear?
I'll bet the smith in Chainscrape would let you use his workbench. As for the Bristlebacks, you might want to craft some acid arrows. Hitting their canisters with those will take them down quick.
Thanks. I'll find Erend and I'll bring him back. Hey! Where do you think you're going?
What? To the top of the ridge. To wait in safety.
Sorry. Operator's under strict orders. No passengers till the whistle blows, right?
That's right. Best start cranking.
Why?
Jorf, would you kindly escort Studious to Chainscrape and wait for me there?
You got it.
I will find Erend, and I will help clear a path. But after that, no more excuses. Barren Light. Embassy.
If such be the will of the sun.
It will be. Trust me. I gotta find Erend. But it might be good to hit Chainscrape first and upgrade my bow. Those machines must have torn through this camp. This valley definitely isn't safe. Dyer can make use of this. This place has seen better days. I don't think I can get past them. Guess I should leave it for now. This isn't getting anywhere. Try this in my stash later. That must be Chainscrape. Daruf said I could get my bow upgraded in there. Might be able to tinker with my other gear, too. Gemstone. It's green like blaze, but it's hard and shiny. I wonder if merchants would be interested.
Outlander approaching. That the Savior?
Wanna come in, Savior? Welcome to Chainscrape, Savior.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
By the Forge.
Petra?
Aloy, what are you doing here? About time there was something worth looking at in this dump.
It's nice to see you too.
And not a moment too soon. Come on. Damn brewery's the only thing I can count on in this place.
Yeah, I heard. Machines, work stoppage.
Oh, those are just the latest malfunctions. Chainscrape's always been a few tools short of a kit. And right there is the biggest tool of all.
Our land, not our problem. The bristlebacks are everybody's problem.
Roland?
You've heard of him.
Yeah.
But he's a story best told over a cold beer.
Petra. I'm just passing through. I'm headed west.
Oh.
There's an embassy at Barren Light I need to make happen, and then I keep moving.
Ah, of course. Bigger gears to grind. Well, Flamehair, good to see you. You've got to move on.
Petra.
But if you want a cold beer and a few laughs with an old friend, come find me at the brewery. Your choice.
Well, this Olvan guy sounds like trouble. Maybe Petra could use some support. But first things first, I need to find that workbench and upgrade my bow.
Don't make me go drag both your ears off.
I could take her.
Workbench is free if you need to tinker with that gear.
Shop looks closed.
Yep.
Can I still use the workbench?
I ain't gonna stop you. Upgrading that gear. Workbench is all yours.
Look at you!
Till oven blows that pussy.
This should be useful. Now I just need to find Erend and help him clear the bristlebacks.
Hey, Mildef. Mildef. I took some of your stew last time I went into the wilds. Kept me going for a week. Felt like I could have put a strider in a sleeper hole.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Sounds like you're serving up some impressive provisions here.
Not again. You can have the discount too, but you'll have to come back later.
I think you have me confused with someone else.
Oven didn't send you?
No.
Oh, my apologies. It's just that his minions won't stop pestering me. Now I've even worn out my special grip. Since I'm in the midst of a crisis, perhaps you could skip to what it is you wanted?
Some of your food?
Of course.
Are Ulvin's people causing you problems?
Oh, yeah. They constantly demand my best, but the equipment I need to make my signature dishes isn't built for batch cooking. And don't get me started on the Ulvin discount they feel so entitled to.
And if you refuse?
I make meals. No trouble.
How did you end up in Chainscrape?
Heard about a new and upcoming town at the edge of the frontier. Where there's a town, there's a tavern. I was in need of work. So I got myself out here and started cooking. Some of these people had never tasted proper boars and berries stew before. Anyway, next thing I knew, people kept coming back. Guess they liked my food. Or the ale.
Your last customer mentioned your cooking really kept him going out in the wild. Where I'm headed, I could use some of that.
I would be happy to oblige, especially since you have the decency to ask pleasantly.
But
my special groove griddle is no more. Without it, I can't cook any of my signature dishes. I hate to think what'll happen when I'm forced to refuse Olvin or his goons. Even if I already had the right ingredients, there's nothing I can do. Unless you can source me a temporary replacement?
What do you need?
For the ingredients, a few pieces of decent wild meat, and I'd say a big handful of bitter leaf stems. That'll do. As for the griddle, a corrugated metal panel might suffice until I can have a new one forged. You'd likely find one in the scrounger pile, if you follow the river to the northeast. Don't worry, I'll clean it first. You'll have no issue finding boars and bitter leaf on your way. Assuming you're as much a hunter-gatherer as your clothing suggests.
Thanks, Mildef. I'll keep an eye out.
So that's what gratitude sounds like.
And don't let anyone push you around, okay?
If you say so.
Already got enough bitter leaf. Just need to hunt for some wild meat and grab a metal panel from Scrounger pile.
I bet you've got good stories to tell. Nothing interesting. Better than sticking around a bunch.
Slow down, I'll catch ya. I'll catch ya. Well, step right in.
Whatever you're having.
That mine will be the death of all of us.
I take that back. This'll be the death of me.
What happened to you?
That damn mine is what happened to me. It won't be the last injury if Olvin keeps shoving those tongs into those tunnels.
What mine?
Northeast of Chainscrape, where the river ends. I told Corvin we should stop when the first cave-in happened, but Olvin probably threatened to cut off our pay. Or worse.
How about you slow down and take me through it? You mentioned you were injured in a cave-in.
Yeah, a couple days ago. That's how I hurt this blasted leg. Corvin and the others were opening a new vein while I was checking on an older one. As soon as their blast hit, the tunnel I was in collapsed. Might have dodged it if I wasn't running on barely a spark of sleep. We were pushing too hard and too fast.
And you're afraid Corvin and the others might not be as lucky if it happens again.
Mm-hmm. Hit the nail right on the head.
How come Olvin's in charge? Don't these mines belong to the Carja?
Try telling Olvin that. He brought in all the backing to get them open. Might as well own them. Fire and spit. You ask him. He owns us as well.
Who's Corvin?
He's their foreman. And a damn good one. The kind that knows how to deal with management when it gets unreasonable. But Olvin... his demands go beyond unreasonable. Corvin's been doing his best to appease him. He even blamed himself for my injury when it was Olvin who ordered the extra shifts.
Sounds like a good guy.
That's why we all put up with the long hours and lousy conditions. But if the whole mine becomes unstable, I'd rather suffer Olvin's wrath than die buried in rubble.
I could check in on your crew if I'm in the area.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
We are on the same side here, Olvant. The Bristlebacks threaten us. What do you want, Olvant? Some kind of payment?
My dear magistrate, you think I can be bought? If you want that whistle blown, all you have to do is have your soldiers remove the Bristlebacks and sign the concession decree. Face it, what other choice do you have?
Hi.
Savior, what auspicious timing. Might we discuss a matter of importance to the Sundom?
We might. Later.
Very well. I shall be waiting.
So, the Savior herself. Walloper of Derval, gutter of youth.
Maybe.
I've heard many tales of your beauty and heroics, my fierce lady warrior. Ulvund Freeholder, at your service. So, what could have dragged you away from the fine silks and wine of Meridian to this smudge of a settlement? Your saviorly attention must be needed elsewhere.
I'm here for the embassy and—
The embassy? Why, by the forge. Ah. Greater gears for greater matters. Guess that means you'll be moving on.
once I've dealt with any problems around here that need my saviorly attention.
Ah, the Bristlebacks, of course. Got to get rid of them if you want that embassy to take place. Well, let's get to it, hey? And off you go.
Not so fast. You don't seem to have a high opinion of the Magistrate?
Well, I refuse to play nice to some fancy-robed parchment pusher when my fellow laborers are being bullied, intimidated, and taken advantage of.
How noble of you.
Noble? Ha! Born with a hammer in hand, I was. Nobody handed me anything or dropped opportunity into my lap. Everything I've achieved, I've done on my own.
And where is this hammer now?
The, burden of leadership forced me to set it aside. The Carja risk nothing, while demanding that good Oseram gamble with their lives out there. Someone had to step up and say no more.
You ordered the work stoppage?
Indeed I did. We're laborers, not soldiers. Until the Carja clean up their mess and give us the fair deal we deserve, I'm not risking Oseram lives.
Fair deal? You mean your concession decree?
It's not my decree. It's on behalf of all the good Oseram laborers of this land who do all the back-breaking work, while only the Carja reap the rewards. All we're asking for is the ability to share in this prosperity for a land worked by the people, for the people.
Right. And just how much would be your share?
Only an amount appropriate to my contributions to this community, of course.
If Chainscrape is on Carja land, shouldn't a Carja be in charge? Who appointed you?
The sensibilities of good Oseram folk, of course. You think a Carja can head this whole venture? Ah! The Magistrate can barely make the trek from Barren Light without losing a few screws.
So you have no real authority then? People only follow you because you say so. Loudly.
Anyone who has followers has authority. I've been with Chainscrape from the beginning. I mean, I'm practically its founder, and its honest folk know I'm indispensable to its success.
You said you founded Chainscrape. Somehow I doubt that.
Practically founded, I said. I alone saw its potential when it was just a smattering of tents in Barren Light's shadow. I invested in the mine, convinced some friends back home to do the same, and here we are. You could say Chainscrape is what it is thanks to me.
Oh, so you're not just standing around and profiting off everyone else?
Not at all. Sure, I make a little return on my investment here and there, but my main priority, as it was from the beginning, is to look after the well-being of these honest, working Oseram.
Where's the whistle?
Right in the middle of town, but with the threat out there, I'm not endangering innocent Oseram lives.
I'm going to clear out the Bristlebacks. And when I'm done, this valley is gonna get moving.
If that's what it takes. Until then, I'll keep looking after the safety of these good folk.
Just be ready to blow the whistle. Better see what that Carja Magistrate wanted. I bet he's in the tavern.
has brought us together yet again.
Savior, over here. Savior, thank you for taking the time, and my condolences that you had to endure Ulvund's bloviating.
I've dealt with worse. It sounds like he's really trying to put you over the barrel.
The idea that the Carja purposely let Bristlebacks into the Daunt, it's completely absurd. But the louder and longer he says it, the more support he'll get for his damned concession decree.
How did the Bristlebacks get into the Daunt?
No one knows for sure. The first report of them came from west of the quarry. But unless they have wings I don't know about, I don't see how they could have come over the mountains.
No other way in.
The only way I know about is Barren Light. Look, if you can get to the bottom of this, I can offer a considerable bounty in return. Help me shut Ulvund up.
What is this concession decree that Ulvund wants?
He wants the Sundom to designate portions of the Daunt as Oseram holdings. Only the portions, mind you, that produce any value.
Let me guess. Because he stands to profit somehow?
Exactly. With the Daunt under Oseram law, he could secure more investment for their numerous ventures.
He can't get those investments without the concession?
No. Not while there's a chance the Sundom could revoke their access. Hence, why the concession is so important to him. And why blaming the Carja for the Bristlebacks, no matter how absurd, works in his favor.
How does blaming the Carja for the Bristlebacks help Ulvund get his concession?
Look around. This may be the Sundom, but Chainscrape is all gears and rust and bad ale. Claiming that the Carja loosed the Bristlebacks in order to intimidate Oseram laborers into obedience. Well, let's just say no one here has forgotten the atrocities of the Mad Sun King. And with the Bristlebacks bringing work in the valley to a halt, Ulvund has plenty of time to pick at barely healed wounds.
And if the Oseram refuse to work, unless the concession is signed, you won't have a choice.
Correct. The reconstruction of Barren Light must continue.
How did you get stuck out here?
I asked for the posting, believe it or not. Overseeing the entire valley on behalf of the Sun King? It was an honor. Is an honor, I mean.
But your job would be a lot easier without someone like Ulvund blasting hot air all the time?
Ulvund's not going anywhere. He's been around longer than I have. Even fancies himself the founder of Chainscrape. Now, I'll find a way to live with him. I have to.
You said the Bristlebacks were first spotted west of the quarry?
Yes, according to one terrified laborer, said the ground trembled before they came charging down the hillside. He took off and ran all the way here.
Good place to start looking, then.
If you learn the truth, maybe Ulvund will stop blaming the Carja for every problem under the sun, and maybe then he'll actually focus on rebuilding Barren Light instead.
change your mind about that
No one wants
brew?
to play strike.
Come for
No?
that beer after all, eh?
Anyone.
Here, sit down. Get a pint in her hand. Wasn't expecting you to swing by.
Since when do I do what's expected?
There's that spark. Fire and spit.
Fire and spit.
That's a blast from the bellows. Won't fix the forge, but at least I can forget about my troubles for a while.
Like what?
Take your pick. We got bodies to bury from the bristlebacks, the work stoppage, Olvin grating the gears about his concession decree. Hey! Weapons off the table! Ah, don't listen to me. Nothing a cold brew and knocking some heads together can't fix eventually.
So the bristlebacks in the Daunt. Where did they come from?
That's the thing. No one rightly knows. They just showed up one day, rampaging around the valley like they exploded out of a forge. Lost some good people. But I heard talk of some vanguards trying to take them down.
Did they come through here?
Stopped by briefly for supplies. Olvind was none too pleased. Won't be able to crank it to his advantage once the bristlebacks are gone.
But how could bristlebacks and the Daunt help Olvind?
2 words. Concession decree. Since no one knows where the bristlebacks came from, Olvind has taken to blaming the Carja for him. He's hoping to dig up enough old resentments to get a strike going until the concession's signed. This is just his latest attempt. He's been trying to rile up the workers since the day he rolled into town.
And people actually believe him?
Lots of folks suffered at the hands of the Mad King during the Red Raids. Give him half a reason, they'll blame the Carja for anything.
Damn Carja slavers.
I thought you'd be back in Freeheap.
Well, after the big battle at Meridian, I went back. But realized it was running smooth. Didn't need me. Heard about the rebuilding out at Barren Light. Figured they could use another hammer. Been scraping by ever since.
You could always leave.
And go back east? Nah. I ain't one to leave a lit forge. Besides, someone's gotta be a squeaky wheel for the workers around here.
So about Olvind.
Around here, everything's about Olvind.
How'd he end up in charge?
He got here early, like a squirrel smelling a fat nut. He knew rebuilding Barren Light would need stone and timber. So he jangled purses all over Mainspring, getting investors to front claims on anything in the Daunt that might be worth a damn. Thing is, all the bankers back home know that this is Carja land, and the Sun King can revoke those claims at any time. That's why he's desperate for the magistrate to sign off on a concession decree.
This concession decree, what is it exactly? And how would it help Olvind?
It's pig diddle, that's what.
A writ that would put all Oseram claims in the Daunt under Oseram law, even though they're on Carja land. It would mean that any existing ore, stone, and timber claims couldn't be revoked by the Carja. No more risk, no more hesitation for investors back in the claim to pour in the shards and expand their business. And since Olvind has a stake in all those claims, it would make him richer than a scrapper in a junk heap. Not to mention Chainscrape would become an Oseram municipality, so he could buy enough votes to call himself an Elderman. He's a sly old badger, I'll give him that. Figures if he keeps up the pressure, eventually the magistrate will sign.
Well, I have to be going. Thanks for the drink, Petra. I'm glad I stopped by.
Anytime, Flamehair.